Okay, so here's the thing we're not considering.
Okay.
We're always like, Selena can't be the best assassin.
Uh-huh.
What if all the other assassins legitimately suck? Yo, it's Biggie Cheese. We're back at it again, Mr. Bombastic, with chapter 45.
Another bombastic chapter.
Mr. Bombastic. KO. Woo, wrong C. Selena didn't get a meal. Or take a bath, or see a halo for her shoulder, but not her face or her back.
She's nothing but
only
a liar.
Her shoulder. Instead, she hurried to the dungeon, not even looking at the ground, the guards, as she passed. Exhaustion rippled at her, but fear kept her moving, almost sprinting down the stairs. They want to use me. They tricked me, Cautane had said. And in Dorian's book of Ardalan's noble lineages, the Rompier family had been listed as one with a strong magical line, supposedly vanished 2 generations ago. Sometimes I think they brought me here. So I'm assuming that Rompier is Cautane's family.
Yeah.
Hey, at least that's connecting things just by the association of when those said. Wow. Writing techniques.
Associating things by just when they're said.
Well, yeah, because it just said we're talking about Cautane, and then it talks about this noble family. So it's like, I'm assuming that Cautane is a part of the noble family.
Yes, that's generally what one does when things are mentioned close together.
Okay, listen.
There is generally an
I'm
association.
allowed to mock the book. You're not allowed to mock me. Those are the rules.
Oh, okay.
Not to marry Parrington, but for another purpose. Wait, I think Cautane is probably going to be gone.
One would think since Parrington's gone.
Because Parrington and Roland is gone.
He took Roland, though. He ended up going,
He said, you know what?
Roland, you're even better than Cautane.
He's got that.
Come with me. And Roland went.
It was like
a naked fool.
Man, I'm going to have to put my fuzzy knife on. It's a bit cold up there. It's a bit cold where we're going. I'll have to put my fuzzy knife on. Brought Cautane here, the way Cain had been brought here. Cain of the White-Fanged Mountains, where powerful shamans had long ruled the tribes.
Okay, but werewolves are not magic. Cautane. Selena, you were literally talking before about like how magic could help with so many things previously before it was obliterated. So it's kind of everywhere. So you know what? You can find people from magical places everywhere.
Literally. Her mouth went dry as she strode down the dungeon hallway to Cautane's cell. She stopped in front, staring through the bars.
Empty.
It was empty.
Boom.
All that was left inside was Selena's cloak, discarded in the kicked-up hay, as if Cautane had struggled against whoever had come to take her. Selena was at the guard station a moment later, pointing down the hall. Where was Cautane?
Girl,
even as
idiot.
She said it,
stupid.
Memory began to clear. A memory haze.
Oh wait, she was drugged at the time.
Spent sedated in the dungeons.
Never mind. She was quite drugged.
She was toast. She was. Anyway, toast. That's enough. The guards looked at each other, then at her torn and bloody clothes, before one said, "The Duke took her, M-dash, to Morath to be his wife." She stalked out of the dungeon, heading towards her rooms.
Do you need help?
"Something is coming," Cautane had whispered, "and I am to greet it. My headaches are worse every day, and full of all those flapping wings." Selena nearly stumbled on a step. "Roland has been suffering from awful headaches lately," Dorian had told her a few days ago. And now Roland, who shared Dorian's Havillard blood, had gone to Morath too. Gone? Or been taken? Selena touched her shoulder and felt the open, bloody wounds beneath. The creature had been clawing at its heart as though it were in pain, and when it had shoved through the door, for the first few seconds it had been frozen in place. She had seen something human in its warped eyes.
We already know about the human
something
connection.
That looked so relieved, so grateful for the death she gave him.
Nice interpretation on your own part to absolve any conscious objections.
Now remember, Selena is terribly tormented when she kills people. So
Terribly
she has
tormented.
to say, like, oh, you know what? He wanted me to kill it. Clearly. I know this to be true.
I know this, for I saw it in its eyes. It wanted this. I gave a favor. Looking for your spot?
Who were you? She whispered, recalling the human heart and the man-like body of the creature under the library. And what did he do to you? But Selena had a feeling she already knew the answer, because that was the other thing the ward keys could do. The other power that the ward marks controlled. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I was messing with the sound because you kept talking softer.
Life. They hear wings in the Fran Gap, Nehemia had said. What?
Every time you switch past, you start talking softer.
Well, it's big.
No, you don't need to bring the microphone closer. Just don't talk softer. It was excellent.
So you're telling me, where are the highs and lows in the audio? I'll have to do the highs and lows by my cadence. There are wings in the freezing gap, Nehemia had said. All scouts do not come. There are wings in the Fran Gap, Nehemia had said. Oh, scouts do not come back. The king was trysting far more than wards the king was trysting far worse things than mortal men. Far worse things. But what did he plan to do with them, M-Dash? What with the creatures, with the people like Roland and Caltaine?
The same thing every evil emperor tries to do.
Take over the world. She needed to learn how many of the ward keys he had found, and where the others might be. I'd give you a volcano for one of them. Just saying, Selena. Just saying. Section break. The next night, Selena examined the door to the library catacombs, her ears straining for any hint of sound on the other side. Nothing. The bloody ward marks had turned flaking, but beneath the crust, as if welded into the metal, was a dark outline of each mark. Convenient. From high above, the muffled bellow of the clock tower sounded.
Bellow of the clock tower?
Show me your clock face! Oh!
I just find that unacceptable. How does the clock tower bellow?
Well, that's because
traditionally it's a bell.
They don't have ding dongs. The clock doesn't go ding dong 2 o'clock.
They just have something with a really big.
Oh, 2 o'clock. That's actually how they get it. It's not actually. You know what? Let's just keep reading.
Anyways, I really object to the use of bellow.
I don't need to spitball about how it's actually an organic mechanism from some big old creature that they harvested into a clock. That's why I can bellow. It's like Simon Hedder. Only it's a clock.
Okay.
Anyway, let's listen. The chapter's almost done.
Thank goodness.
Man, where's the enjoyment? The enjoyment is gone, Beth. The enjoyment is gone.
You look like you're enjoying yourself. Because you keep yelling.
It was 2 a.m. How did no one know that the tower was atop an ancient dungeon that served as the king's own secret chamber?
How did no one know? I don't know. Maybe because it was hidden behind all those doors you had to go and unlock, Selena.
Selena glowered at the door in front of her, because who would ever think that was a possibility? She knew she should go to bed, but she'd been unable to sleep for weeks now and saw no point in trying anymore. It was why she'd come down here, to do something while sorting through her jumbled thoughts. She flipped the dagger in her right hand, angling it, and gave a light, tentative tug at the door. It held. She paused, listening for any signs of life, then yanked harder. It didn't budge. Selena pulled a few more times, going as far as to brace a foot against the wall, but the door remained sealed. When she was at last convinced that nothing was getting through the door, in either direction,
Good to know. It doesn't move either direction. Did you try moving it either direction, Selena?
I
thought it was a one-way door.
She loosed a long breath. No one would ever believe her about this place, just like no one would ever believe...
Who do you even have to tell about it? You've got Kale. You've already decided you're not telling him jack diddly squat. You don't got Nehemia to tell anymore. You got no one to tell, Selena.
Just like no one would believe her wild, highly unlikely story about the Weird Keys. To find the Weird Keys, she'd first have to solve the riddle, and then convince the king to let her go for a few months. Years.
Or you could just run away.
It would take careful manipulation, especially since it seemed likely that he already had a key. But which one?
What, does it matter which one? Doesn't matter. Oh, I guess... Location-wise, not like the keys have different powers. Gotcha.
They hear wings, Yellowlegs had said, only combined with the three... Yellowlegs said that only combined with the three... Yellowlegs had said that only combined could the three open the actual ward gate. But alone, each still wielded immense power.
Yep, we remember that.
What other sorts of towers could he create? If he ever got all three ward keys, what might he bring into Aurelia to serve him? Things were already...
Steam power.
You think they're gonna solve him? They'll be like, cheers, bruv, thanks for opening the front door.
Why would we have any sense of duty to you? You tiny.
You're just the doorman. Here's a nickel.
Thanks for the nickel.
Anyway, listen, Beth, you'll say like, oh, you look like you're enjoying this, Tia. If I was enjoying this, I would not be interrupting it so much.
You're getting passionate.
No, that's not enjoyment.
That sounds like passion.
And I'm not even like having a fun and passion. It's like an annoyed passion. It's a passion that I wish I wouldn't have so I could just finish the book.
Keep reading then.
Things were already stalling on the continent. Unrest was brewing. She had a feeling that he wouldn't tolerate it for long. No, it was only a matter of time before he unleashed whatever he'd been creating upon them all, and crushed all resistance forever. Selena looked at the sealed door, her stomach turning. A half-dried pool of blood lay at the base of the door.
Wait, her stomach is turning?
Mm-hmm.
That generally means, like, queasiness, disgust. Oh, what about this is upsetting you, Selena?
The blood. It could also be because she has an infection from all of her untreated wounds.
Oh, and the infection's setting in.
It's setting in on her stomach specifically.
Sepsis is getting for her. She is feeling unwell.
I'm feeling unwell. A dried pool of blood lay at the base of the door. So dark it looked like oil.
Yeah,
everything never looks like it is. She crouched, swiping a finger through the puddle.
Also, wait a second. It looks like oil. I feel like generally the looks like oil is from the sheen.
I don't know.
Viscosity.
Maybe, well, it's half dried, so it's viscous. It's congealed.
You mean gelatinized?
It's jelly.
Not dried?
It's jelly.
Well, it could do both.
It's jelly.
I don't know. The pools of blood I've seen that have gelatinized do not look like oil.
Swiping a finger through the puddle, she sniffed at it, almost gagged at the reek, then rubbed her finger against the pad of her thumb. It felt as oily as it looked. She got to her feet and reached into her pocket.
So it's oil-powered.
Looking for something to wipe her fingers. She drew out a handful of papers, scraps was more like it, bits of things she carried around to study when she had a free moment.
So, bits of things she carried around, but they're just scraps. It's okay. I can wipe my hands on these.
Frowning, she shifted through them to sort which one she could spell to use as a makeshift handkerchief.
What about your clothing? You clearly don't care about your clothes, Selena.
One was just a recipe for a pair of... a receipt. Man, receipts and recipes are too similar. A recipe for a pair of shoes. What?
When did she buy these shoes? Why does she keep the receipt around to study?
Which she must have accidentally tucked into her pocket that morning.
Did she buy shoes that morning?
I'm assuming Philippa was like, here's all the receipts. And she was going through them being like, I would never financially recover from this.
Nah.
And put one in her pocket. And another ... Selena lifted that one closer. Time's Rift had been written there. She'd scribbled it down when she'd been trying to solve the eye riddle. When everything in the tomb felt like a great secret. One giant clue. Some help that had been.
It just sounds so much like it's a anagram. Like, times rift, that sounds like an anagram.
Yeah.
Or possibly, coded or something, but.
Just another dead end. Coursing under her breath, she used it to wipe the grime off her fingers. The tomb still didn't make sense, though. What did the trees on the ceiling and the stars on the floor have to do with the riddle? The stars had led to the secret hole, but they could just have easily been on the ceiling to do that. Why make everything backwards? Because Fae have particularities, okay?
Yeah.
Would Brannon have been so foolish as to put all the answers in one place? She uncrumpled a scrap of paper, now stained with the creature's oily blood. Time's Rift! There was no inscription at Gavin's feet, only Elena's, and the words made little sense. But what if they weren't meant to make sense? What if they were only just logical enough to imply one thing, but really mean another? Everything in the tomb was backwards, rearranged, the natural order in reverse, to hint that things were with times. Wait, I don't think that's spelled backwards.
It says, hat, I'm Esrift.
To hint that things were jumbled, misarranged, so the thing that should have been concealed was right and open, but like everything else, its meaning was warped. There was one person, one being, who could probably tell her whether she was right.
Other than the one you just killed in the last chapter, okay. Archer?
It's an anagram, she panted as she reached the tomb. So you were right.
Not Archer, but still it'd be Mort. It is such an anagram. Oh my goodness. I said this when that came in too, I think. I'm pretty sure I said it was an anagram. It's so obviously an anagram. When you have something that doesn't quite make sense and it's got words like in it, that's what you do with spared letters in an anagram, okay?
Okay, so like, obviously Selena's right because this book really isn't that complex. But has she ever... But listen, reading this chapter, the part just with the anagram and the
why did she not figure out it was an anagram earlier? My goodness.
The tomb at the end. How she was like, oh, Brandon wouldn't have done this with all this clues and stuff and hiding it in plain sight. I was reading it and I thought, man, talk about the main character syndrome. Well, it's like, oh, this was definitely set up for me. Brandon did this whole thing with his daughter's tomb for me to solve, you know? It's like, have you considered that the stars are on the floor because that's just a fate thing? Or this is someone's beloved daughter's tomb? Like, it's not all about a riddle for you to solve, Selena.
Also, no matter how much Selena says, would Gavin or Brandon be that foolish to put everything in one place? No, you can't assassinate their characters. Don't worry, I know who's the real fool. Don't assassinate those characters.
What characters to assassinate? And you just keep saying assassinate.
Like, saying that they're foolish.
That's not assassinating. That's
they're trying
smudging.
They have no characterization. All we know that they could be foolish. That's
assassinating
them. It's assassinating. Like Selena assassinates them.
All right. Shitty assassination.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that was chapter 45. Ever closer to the completion of this ridiculous novel.